Welcome to the AFR Saints channel, where we provide you daily content on your favorite team, the New Orleans Saints. Do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to leave your comments below and smash that like button. Who dat?
That's one of the things I love about being here, is that winning always takes precedent, and all of the moves that we make as a collective are all under the presumption that it's going to help us win.
That's the voice of Khai Harley, better known as the Saints capologist, who spent 15 years as Mickey Loomis's right hand, and our buddy Sean Fazende at Fox 8 had a great sit-down, a great feature with Khai Harley. He's got it on his Twitter. I retweeted it, and we'll share it on our other social medias as well. I would highly recommend you go check that out. It was great insight into the Saints' approach here into the offseason, why they keep doing what they're doing with respect to the cap. Sean's good enough to join us for a couple of minutes here. How are you, man?
Doing great, man. How are you?
Really well. Hey, to the best of your knowledge, how much media does Khai Harley do? I mean, he's kind of this figure that just sort of works in the shadows. Right? I don't even know if people could pick him out of a lineup.
Right, and that was part of my reason for doing it. Is like you, Matt. Our audience. I mean, this is a pretty well-versed audience. This is not just casual sports fans. I mean, they know what they're talking about. They know film. They know salary cap. So they've heard that name before. They've heard it a lot around this time of year. And I just felt it was pretty important to just kind of see and hear from this guy because, I know who he is, and I've seen him before every game. And, if you do a quick chat, quick hello, but I'm not sure many of the viewers, audience / Saints fan base know a whole lot about him. So that's why I pitched that idea, and luckily he was open to sitting down with me and kind of walked me through how he does his process in terms of navigating the salary cap.
I know my answer. I'm curious yours. Of everything he said, and certainly what you had in the feature, what was the thing that stood out most to you?
Well, it's they don't panic. They know what they're doing. That was pretty evident. B, they're pretty disciplined and pretty orderly and meticulous in terms of how they go about their business. And look, like you just played the bite about them. Everything that they do is with respect to winning, and frankly, it's winning present. Like I don't know how much. I mean, they obviously look to the future and they build for the future, but they want to always err on the side of wanting to win as soon as possible. So that's really what it all boils down to for them. It was a pretty insightful interview. And look, obviously, this is the time of year. They're dealing with a lot of free agents, soon-to-be free agents. They weren't going to be very open about their pursuits and what's going to happen. But I thought it was a pretty insightful interview just in terms of the kind of process that they go through.
It was, and a job well done, which is one of the reasons I certainly want to talk to you about it. Is the other thing, Sean, that stood out to me was, I forget exactly how he said it, but you used the clip where he said there's sort of a difference between whether we can do it and whether we should do it with respect to signing a player, restructuring a deal, or whatever the case may be. Can you elaborate any on maybe something that didn't make it in as far as what that approach is like? Because, Sean, it sure as hell to me seems like whether you should or not, they're just going to keep on rolling because they have to.
Yeah, he didn't get too specific with terms of just specific players, but I think what really stood out to me is, look, you're dealing with a lot of big personalities and big, I don't want to say egos, but big personalities, especially with the former head coach that was there, who was very aggressive in terms of what he wanted to do. And he was really there just to be the guy that really is provide, obviously, the numbers, the market, and where we can get it, how we can get it done, but also that dose of reality in terms of, yes, we can get this done, but should we get this done? And what is it going to cost to get this done? And how is that going to, basically tax us in the future by making such a move? So I think he has really kind of been a bit of a kind of the steady guy in the background that's really, like I said before, more of a dose of reality in terms of what making moves can do. It's not just about let's go get this guy. It's really up to him to come up with the details and getting them, but also providing the detailed, I guess, write up in terms of what making a move can do, both risk and reward, for the Saints organization.
Sean Fazende's with us here on AFR. Is there a point? This was the other thing that really jumped out to me, Sean, where I started thinking, like, is there a point where this stops? Like, is there a year where they stop the sort of mad restructuring of deals and they get back more toward the mean?
I think organizationally they would love to be in that situation. They would love to be in a situation where they wouldn't have to constantly restructure, constantly extend, constantly add avoidable years. But, they see a window of opportunity, especially in their division, where they feel like they can get back on top of the NFC South. If you win your division, you're guaranteed to host a playoff game. Who knows what happens? I mean, and they feel like that is very attainable. This is not like coming off the Katrina year where obviously 3-13 and they're feeling down in the dumps. I do think there will come a year, and I feel like I've said this a lot over the last few off seasons, and yet they continue to make moves where they will not do as much. But again, I go back and this didn't make it in the piece, but I said, Khai, does it always kind of feel like you guys err on the side of let's get it done as opposed to sit back and wait? And he said, yeah, I mean, for the most part, they're always going to look towards how can we make this work and, the plus side of doing that sort of move. So I do think it's a tricky balance that they have to have. I know Mickey Loomis, every year he says, we got to get this thing down. We got to get back to the middle. Matter of fact, we opened the piece up with that soundbite. But yet every year, their actions kind of go towards, we still think we can win, and let's make the moves necessary to make that happen.
Sean, they've made a few moves already, notably, and they've dropped roughly $30 million off the cap, where they were, roughly $55 million there, about over the projected cap, and right now they're around $30 million or so. Look, you cover the team as close as anyone. What are some of the other names that we need to keep an eye on that are either going to be restructures or cap casualties?
Yeah, first off, the 2017 class, I think they're still working. They've already done a RAM check. I think the Lattimore contract is set to be could be one that could be restructured. The Alvin Kamara situation is obviously a little tricky, but I do think when it's all said and done, a restructure there could certainly happen. Taysom Hill is another one that could certainly get restructured and add some cap space. You don't necessarily want to touch those veterans that are in the latter part of their career, but but they could do it with Cam Jordan and possibly DeMario Davis. And if you restructure those, and when I say restructure, the thing where you chop the base salary down, you convert it to a signing bonus, you spread it out over the life of the contract, you can get really close in terms of getting under the threshold. And look, I think the Jameis Winston cap casualty release is going to happen. There's been talk about Andrews Pete possibly being one, guy like Tre'Quan Smith. There isn't a big cut that they can make, though, Matt, that creates this huge amount of cap savings like they've had in years past. And that's a little bit of the downside when you redo deals like you've done, like they've done over the years. When you do finally have to face the music and cut that player, you don't get quite the savings that you normally would have if you hadn't restructured those deals in prior years.
And then ultimately what it does, Sean, and you know this as well as I do, what it does is it thins out your depth. And we've seen that with this team. So let's look at the combine and the draft, because that's how they're going to have to restock here. They just can't be big spenders in free agency. You look, when you cover this team, how do they typically approach the week at the combine?
Prototype. That would be my word for draft, combine, and just the overall approach is they set their prototypes, and then they navigate each position with those prototypes in mind. And they obviously value the interviews, the process that you can get with those guys. But also, the combine is a medical event, and they take that medical information very seriously, as any organization would, but obviously they do as well. So that's really how they approach the combine, is to get that valuable information and to see if anyone's on-field performance sends them back to the tape. In other words, you have your draft grades based off of maybe the guy was at the Senior Bowl, but obviously the college tape, and then you see them up close. Do they do something good or bad? It sends you back to the tape to see if it was something that they may have missed with a certain prospect, and then they start ranking them. They put all that information together, and they'll do the top 30 visits, and then their own personal workouts, and they'll put that draft board together. And that's just how they go throughout the process, and they trust their board, Matt. I mean, they really do. This is a key part of the process in determining where those prospects will land on that board, and they stay true to it throughout the process.
Hey, Sean Fazende's with us on Twitter at Sean Fazende Fox 8. By the way, good luck spelling the last name. Me and Sean, same thing. A lot of vowels. Good luck with it. But you start typing in Fazende, you'll get there eventually.
Right.
Positions of need in the draft. Every mock draft I look at, Sean, it's this chasm, right, of quarterback, maybe an offensive line, maybe an edge rusher, maybe an interior, maybe a receiver. Today, Kuiper's got him taking a tight end. So when you look at it, you go, okay, at the front of the draft, position of need, where do you think that lies with this team?
Well, I'll just go off history, okay? First off, we know they need a quarterback. We know they need a quarterback, but they love the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
They love the line of scrimmage. And given the fact that I was doing a look at the roster yesterday, I'm not sure they have a single true defensive tackle under contract right now. I'm not sure they have a single one. They need not one, but probably two, maybe even three defensive tackles. That's certainly one position. Defensive end, we've seen the investment at that position in years past. Sometimes it's worked, sometimes it has not. That's certainly one. They value the offensive line. We've seen that obviously over the last few years in the draft. I don't know that I think it's a need. I don't know if it's as glaring as the defensive side of the line of scrimmage. They need a running back, Matt. I mean, a durable number 2 running back, if not the eventual replacement to Alvin Kamara. They could potentially use 2. They're not going to draft 2 running backs, but you get what I'm saying. They need a running back as well. I would put the need for a second wide receiver if Jarvis and Mike T don't come back, probably ahead of a tight end. I mean, they like the development of Juwan Johnson. I know Troutman's been a little bit of a disappointment, but I would put the need for a second wide receiver over the need for a tight end at that position or in the draft.
And man, rattling off that many positions right there is exactly the conundrum, right? I mean,
right.
You're up against the cap. You don't have money to spend. You have a lot of needs. Let's go throw $30 million at Derek Carr. That'll fix it. Hey, by the way, Prince Emili, Saints defensive tackle, under contract for $750K this year. How about it?
Well, that's the one then. Okay.
It's literally
Let's go team, right?
It's that and David Onyemata's voidable year from his deal that's on. But as far as a physical human that's on contract, it would be Prince Emili. So
good luck.
Good luck, Prince. Sean, we appreciate it. Thanks as always, man.
Thanks, bud. Appreciate it. Have a good one.
Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact. And be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.